let's talk about fear and judgment and how closely related they are. So judgment comes from things that you've learned in the past. Judgment comes from things that you've had to do in the past, and it's either you experienced it or you've been told about it, and requires you to make a yes or no metric on it. So it requires you to say this is positive or this is negative. And mostly the things that you've judged as negative are the things that often we end up fearing, we end up being fearful of. And it's a lot of the stuff hasn't actually been tested by the actual person as to like whether it is actually negative or positive for them, because negative and positive per person is so individualistic. So one person's negative might be one person's positive. So in the sense of fear, fear is almost an anticipation that something bad will happen, something detrimental will happen. And of course, these things exist, they don't exist for no reason, so they are important in some cases, but I think they get overblown, they get blown way out of proportion. The thing is with judgment, right? So judgment requires you to use energy to make a decision about a yes or no on something, or to make a decision about like positive or negative about a certain situation. And that energy actually, it uses a lot of energy to make those decisions. I find myself a lot of the time with meditation, it's gotten like a funny word, like it's a lot of things that people say they do, but they don't like really do, or it's like, I don't want to meditate because it's like mystical and fanciful and it doesn't work. So I think that word has been blown out of proportion, but really the thing that meditation is you just watching your mind judge everything, because we're highly judgmental creatures. We have all these pre-ideas of how things are and the way things should be. And really what meditation is just watching your mind make all these judgmental decisions. And the thing you'll realize is that your mind it'll judge something as negative, which casts it into like a dark field, or judges it as positive, which it'll interact with that and spin narratives. So in either way, it's going in either direction. And those directions that it's going in actually just trail a whole stream of things that actually haven't even happened yet. And they usually are with relation to the past or the future. Because when your brain is fully in the present, it's not moving. The only time your brain ever moves is with relation to the past or the future. Because those judgments come from things that have happened in the past. So the important thing to realize is like that the art of watching your brain move is just not actually judging it, just watching what it's doing. And you'll realize this thing is it's a machine that just wants to move all over the place. And it's not a bad machine. It's just, it wastes energy when you spend your whole day judging everything. Like, oh, this is bad. Like, oh, why'd I have to do this today? Why'd I have to hang the laundry? Why'd I have to wash the dishes? Blah, blah, all these judgments you make. And eventually they end up just tearing down a lot of what's built up inside. So judgment isn't bad. That's not what I'm saying. Because judgment is really important in the things that have value to you and that are going to bring value to you. So for example, in my case, I do art. I do concept art and visual development and illustration work, and my judgmental decisions are super important. Like my critical decision making is like highly important. I value it so much. But that's where I use my judgment. A lot of my day comes in those types of decisions. And it's like what to draw, how to draw, whether to like go back on the fundamentals. All these decisions, like very calculated kind of decisions, are really important to me, because when I sit down to do the thing, then I know I've thought about it, I've made the judgment call over it, and I know I'm doing the right thing. But if I spend my whole entire day judging other things that are just like menial tasks, if I'm judging everyone else, like, oh, this guy's art is bad, this girl looks like this is bad, blah blah blah, yeah, then I'm wasting all of that energy, and then I'm gonna have no neuron energy to be able to make these decisions, these very like correct decisions for myself about the things that I love. So in that way, I kind of just watch my brain the whole day until I don't. So I watch my brain the whole day when I'm just like living around the house, watch it. I'm not like obsessive about it, but I watch it enough to see when it does move that I can catch it and bring it back. And the more you do that, you'll find the less your mind actually moves, the less judgment you're actually making. And when you are conscious of your judgment, so you're conscious of the decisions that you're making, you like conscious, you're like, okay, I actually need to make a judgment call here, this is worth thinking about. You're going to find you have so much more energy to make these judgment calls. So what I'm saying is, the more you judge things, the more the fear actually develops. And fear is a weird thing, because the more fearful you become of certain things, the more fearful you become of other things. It's like a domino effect. You think of fear like a domino effect, in the sense that like fear is the anticipation that something is going to go wrong. So something that hasn't actually happened yet, it is going to go wrong. And you often find the cliche goes like, when you actually do it, it's not actually as bad as you thought it would be. And that's often the case. It's just because a lot of these prejudgmental ideas, they've actually haven't been critically thought over. And that it's worth delving deep into like whatever the fears are about, whether it's putting your art up online, of you like being fearful that it's not going to be judged as like good artwork. That's actually a facade in front of the fear metric. It's a facade that like, oh, it's going to hurt my ego if I put my art up and then like no one likes it and then I feel like a failure. No, that's like you just starting out in that case. And to be honest, if you just love to do it anyway, it wouldn't really matter what anyone else thought, to be honest. So what I mean is the judgment metric is purely a future past thing in decision making, and it's important to use in the things that you love, like whatever it is, like health or art or like which friendships are worth pursuing. But if you spend your whole day judging everyone else or everything else around you, it's just wasting a lot of neurons, and it takes away your happiness. I mean, ultimately, we want to be peaceful and happy inside. And judgment in the right cases is really important. Judgment with the things that you love, in the things that you love, are really important. But if you're just judging all over the place, it actually deteriorates your peace, because you're out here either hating everything or just like thinking you're better than everything. And when you can direct your judgment to these amazing spaces of the things that you love, the fear of other things actually goes down as well.